I think the problem isn't the pandemic. The problem is our economic system. I hate to say this, but gold, silver, and Bitcoin are investments of disaster. You know, if everything was perfect, you don't need gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So I've been collecting silver since I was in 1964, when I found out that silver tinge upon my little dimes and nickels and then dimes and quarters. And I started buying gold in 1972. My first coin was in 1972 was in Hong Kong. I bought a Kruger in. And the reason is I understood what happened when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. And so, as you know, most of the pessimist gold guys like me just know you just can't keep printing money. The gap between rich and poor, as you know, is growing. And then when at PPP and all of the social programs giving people money, people are now would rather stay at home and get paid. I mean, what? But, you know, and anyway, and people hate Trump a lot. I mean, I've never been political, but Trump is my friend. We wrote 2 books together. And we're both concerned about financial education. So the gap, the real problem is the gap that this coronavirus exposed is massive, massive. You know, I wrote another book, it came out in January 2020, was Who Stole My Pension?
Yeah.
And many people know that Wall Street, the shadow banking system, the Treasury, and the Fed have been sucking cash out of pensions. So the old guys like me, we're in trouble. Boomers are in trouble. So a lot of the pensions are empty. So will there be social unrest? The old guys might be too old to protest, but the kids might if the parents move in with them. I've always been critical of education. There's no financial education in schools. That's why Trump and I got together. We're not politicians, but we're both capitalists, and we want to teach people who want to be capitalists about money. And my poor dad, who was a good guy, you know, school administrator, PhD from Stanford, Northwestern, and University of Chicago, they're hardcore socialists. And so I fought in Vietnam twice. And I came back, I got spat on, eggs thrown at me and all this stuff. And I know a lot of those hippies became school teachers. So that's what they're teaching their kids. So I'm tenuous around education and school teachers because they have a tremendous influence on young people. Marxists believe that the capitalists don't contribute to anything. You know, I'm an investor. I have a lot of companies. And the people that work for me also think I don't do anything. But I provided the capital, we provide the structure, we take the risk, we do all that. But there's this guy, Richard Wolff. He's a Harvard, MIT, and Stanford guy. He's the most popular Marxist we have on YouTube today. And he's the guy that's saying that capitalists add nothing to a business and it should all go to labor. So if there's $1 million profit, then the labor should take the money, not the shareholders and not the capitalists. So that's Marxism versus capitalism, a pretty hardcore capitalism. And there's a time and place for socialism. I mean, there's people who really do need help, that people should be helped, but not to sit at home and get a paycheck. Well, you know, that old saying is don't fight the Fed. And there is some truth to that. If you had followed that advice in 71, you did okay because the Fed always bailed you out. But that's what I was talking about September 17, 2019, that fire in the repo market. You know, they couldn't, and the Fed jumped in and the Treasury jumped in to save the repo market. That's socialism, that's communism, that's central controlled government. So now the economy is controlled by the Fed and the US Treasury. Free market is gone. What happened is separated the price of a stock from the fundamentals of a stock. And so, as you know, many of the CEOs were just borrowing money off their corporations, like let's say Ford, and making them they went from AAA to BBB junk bond status. AT&T and all these companies. So the CEOs were complicit in borrowing from their corporate treasury, repurchasing their stocks, which sent the price of the stock up, and then the CEOs parachuted out under capital gains taxes, not ordinary income tax. So this whole thing has been one, as Marines would say, a gaggle F. It's just really a mess. When the Fed and the Treasury entered the repo market, we became a centrally controlled economy. That's communism. So it looks like the Buffett is saying the banks aren't going to make it.
Mm.
Because what happens every single time is when the Fed and the Treasury take over, they don't need commercial banks. They want to go straight from the Treasury to the people, which is PPP, Universal Basic Income, UBI, and MMT. So the Fed is now becoming the banker for the people also. That's centrally controlled economy. In July, the deficit was 86 billion. In 2008, deficit for the Fed was, I think, 800 billion or something like that. And now in 1 month, the US runs a deficit of 86 billion. The numbers are so staggering that, and we're insolvent. The US is insolvent. So that's why I tweeted, I said, when the vaccine appears and happy days are here again, the real problem has always been the economy. It's been the central bank, the repo market, Wall Street, and US Treasury. When you look at zero interest rate policy, which we're going to, that's saying we don't want your cash, we don't want your savings. They're forcing mom and pop into the equities market or the bond market or the real estate. With zero interest rates, you have got to be better informed. So that's why it's the information age, and we're going to make money trading on information. Today, it's not money, it's information. And if you're going to survive into the future, if you're just going to buy, hold, and pray in your 401k, you're toast. You're toast. Because there's no correlation right now between the price of a stock and the underlying fundamentals. And the reason I said gold, silver, and Bitcoin will crash when the vaccine will come out, I tweeted it's a good thing because it's a buying opportunity, because the problem wasn't the pandemic anyway. The pandemic has always been the underlying repo market, shadow banking system, the Fed, the Treasury, and all those characters. So information is the key for the future, and that's why you've got to be up to date on it every minute, because zero interest rates are saying we don't want your money. That's what it